let's talk about how to create an incredible guest experience, and specifically how essential it is to look at it through the eyes of the employee experience. You see, I'm not an expert in the customer experience, but so many of my clients are asking me to talk about the connection between employee and guest experience, and I'm so very glad that they have made that connection. Because haven't we all been in that situation where we have the two extremes? Either one, where we receive exceptional customer service, and yet we know that those individuals are not being valued and it makes us angry and upset for them. And then the other extreme, where we receive terrible service, and yet we know that it's the employees themselves that are also not being treated that well either. Perfect example happened to me recently. So I hosted a live event at a very expensive resort. I wanted to be able to, my family to benefit from my business, and so I decided to host it somewhere where they could come with me. And most importantly, I wanted to serve the people who are in my virtual program and my direct coaching clients. So I brought them together. It was supposed to be in this 5-star beautiful resort in this gorgeous part of the world. And from the minute we tried to make reservations, there were problems. Every time we had to be put on hold. When we showed up there, we would wait in line at the front desk. Every single time we had to go to the front desk, we waited in line. We'd finally get to the front and they did not have our reservations, or they forgot to reserve certain things for us. It was never-ending problems. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. In a 5-star hotel. I'm not sure who decides about the stars, but anyway. But one thing became very, very clear. There were a couple of superstars, but for the most part, the individuals that were at those front-facing customer experience, they were overworked. It would not be unusual for me to see them there at 8 in the morning and they'd still be there at 8 at night. We were there for 1 week. There were a couple of staff we saw there every single day. I mean, not only is that not possible or reasonable, but also it makes me wonder, what kind of retention problem do you have that you need people working there that many days? And also, there was inconsistency in processes. Those that told me there was probably a gap in training, not to mention, of course, people I don't think felt valued and appreciated. So what do you do to create a guest experience that's incredible, a customer service experience that represents your brand well, and by starting with the employee experience? Well, I'm glad you asked. Number one, take a look at your customer service training and your expectations and map that onto your guest experience. Recently, in some work I was doing with a hospitality industry, we did this very thing. In this presentation for senior leaders on the importance of recognition and the employee experience, I had done their e-learning training about their front-facing customer experience, and I mapped on what is expected. So that's the first thing, is make the direct connection to what you already expect. Number two, do an analysis of where those don't match. Take a look at your employee feedback, take a look at your customer feedback, and if you don't have it, go and ask for it, because you'll be able to see the connection or perhaps the disconnect and be able to focus on those things. The third thing you need to do is then to identify what is the most important thing we need to address immediately, rather than try to fix all of those data points. What is the most important thing that we think, if we focus on improving the employee experience, we'll notice it'll have a direct relation and response to that customer experience. And then finally, identify how you're going to measure it. Is it those same tools, or in fact you need to identify another more specific measure on that initiative that you've decided? The bottom line is you can't ignore these things. The front-facing customer is going to remember how they feel. I mean, I'm not going to share with you what organization this was, but let me tell you, they've already reached back out to me to book my next event, and it was a flat no. It is very hard to redeem yourself if your customer has had a poor experience. Not only that, it is hard to retain your best people if they don't have an environment where they can thrive. So remember, people who are exceptional at their customer service either will have to lower their standards if they don't have a great environment to work in, or they're going to leave. Neither of those options are good for you. If you've been focusing on the guest experience, the employee experience, and your customer experience, why don't you share this video with other decision makers, other people on your team, see what kind of ideas you can come up with in addition to the 4 that I've shared with you. And of course, follow this channel so that you never miss a week of your greatness magnified.